Hey, welcome to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. My name is Dr. Aaron Ernst, and as you guys know, this is a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you get to be set free. We have an exceptional guest, one of my personal best friends, Dr. David Erb. Hey, Dr.
Hey,
David, thank you for joining us.
hey, thanks for having me. I'm so glad I get a chance to spend a little time with you today.
Absolutely. So, hey, for all of you listening, you know that we've recently transitioned the Ask Dr. Ernst show. I was on 107.9 FM WBT for 14 plus years, but we were sort of constrained to just the East Coast. And as our patient base and our coaching base and our client base grew, we got more states, and we've now hit every single state in the US. So we have clients and patients in every single state, from Alaska all the way to Puerto Rico, which is a territory, Hawaii, even all the way up into Maine. So because of that, we are now nationwide streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, any channel that can handle us. So just a small shout out in case you're new to this, make sure you smash that subscribe button, activate the bell if you're on YouTube. If you don't know what a bell is, it gives you notifications. It lets you know we are live. And if you're on Facebook, hit follow, but don't just hit follow, push and hold. Wait about 3 seconds. You'll see a drop down menu show up, and you want to say show live notifications, and you want to activate that. And I'm going to give a little shout out right now to Dr. David Erb on his channels. I believe it's at Dr. David Erb. Is that correct?
Yep. Dr. David ERB.
Yeah, so Dr. David Erb. Check him out on Instagram, Facebook, social, YouTube, Twitter, all the above. He has exceptional content. In fact, I'm a little jealous of his content. It's very well done. And being that he's my guest
Well,
today, I'm going to slowly stop talking and start giving the floor to our rock star, Dr. David Erb, who is co-owner of one of the largest fully functionally structurally integrative practices in Texas, in Dallas. So give us just a little background about yourself.
so
How'd you get into your profession and what you do?
I would never have been a chiropractor, first of all. I worked at the busiest emergency room in the United States for years. Thought everything other than medicine was quackery. And then it's a long story. It's in the book. But I ended up having a heart condition. Yep. Breaking free from chemical religion and finding your way back to health. And had my own health journey, which most people probably watching have. And my heart was going to 240 beats a minute and would stop literally and then start back up again, thank God. And went to a cardiologist, did the stress test, EKG, treadmill, the whole thing. He said it was so bad I could die any minute that we're not going to
Wow.
schedule heart
Wow.
surgery. We're going to do heart surgery right now, which was not on my day planner. And I couldn't, I was like, wait a second. And the only time I'd ever taken a medication was like an antibiotic. So I was like, he was talking about medications, like, well, how, like for a week or like a month? And he goes, no, the rest of your life. And I couldn't hear anything he said after that. And I got up, I started walking out, and he was like, you can't leave, you're going to die. You could die in the car, you could die in the parking lot. And a friend of mine heard what happened. It was a horrible day, and then told me to go see a chiropractor, which I thought was so crazy, but I was so resistant. I did not want to have this heart surgery. And so I was like, well, I'll go see a quack, I guess. And
Mhm.
then they took x-rays and they found that my spine was out of alignment. I had no pain. I had no symptoms.
And it
I didn't
wasn't
have
visible. Like you didn't have like,
no,
a scoliosis that
nothing.
someone could
You
see.
could not have told me that there was, no one could tell. I was breaking state records on the swim team, football, soccer. Like I was always been an athlete. But this guy took 8 minutes. Literally, it took 8 minutes. Remember we had film? We could put him up on the deal.
Yeah.
He took
With a wax
x-rays.
pencil, right? And a ruler.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he didn't even have to actually mark it. He put it up and goes, there it is right there, which
Wow.
felt so weird. I was like, like I didn't think he was a real doctor. And he's sitting there looking at this x-ray going, there it is. Like, what do you mean there it is? And he said, right there, your spine is out of alignment. It's choking off the spinal cord. Your neck, which should be curved like this, is completely backwards at the top. He goes, the nerves going to your heart are crushed right now, even if you don't have symptoms of it. He goes, and if you leave that there, what do you think is going to happen to your heart? And I was like, well, probably stop.
Right.
And he goes, I'm not going to talk you out of the drugs or surgery. He goes, but if you leave that there, it's going to continue to get worse. What do you want to do? I
Yeah.
was like, "Fix it." And he didn't want to just twist my neck or pop me or something just randomly. He lovingly, specifically, and structurally changed my spine, which completely changed my nerve system. And literally in less than 2 weeks, an irreversible medical condition in my heart completely reversed. I've never had the surgery, never taken the drugs, changed my entire trajectory of my entire life. The worst day of my life became one of the best days of my life.
Wow.
And now I get to, open hundreds of offices on 4 continents, open a clinic in Zimbabwe, Africa, author books, like lead people every day. I'm still in clinical practice every day other than Saturday, Sunday. And I love what we do.
Yeah. And I know that you have just not only a passion for using that story to help people learn more about chiropractic, but you have a background that is a little different than most chiropractors, not just with the medical training you have, but also how you are. Hey, look, we have people texting already. That's awesome. How you have background and training in pastoral work. Can you speak to that? Like, how does someone go from working in an ER in a hospital to going, I'm going to be a chiropractor, but also going, I want to also pastor people? Because that's
Yeah.
unique, I think, for me.
Yeah. So honestly, like most things in my life, it's something that I kind of fell into that God led. And so we are doing amazing work in our clinic. We've got one of the largest natural health clinics in the world, and we have a family, like a bunch of, like every day, families coming in, and it's a family from Zimbabwe, Africa, who needs some help with their health.
Right.
Did, and like most, they got amazing, miraculous results. And they said one thing. I remember it a day. They were like, "You're going to go to Zimbabwe and help us help people there." And I've had people from India, Africa, Europe, different places, and literally, I'm like, "Okay, just
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure I am." But it was not 90 days later that I find myself in Zimbabwe, Africa, and I fell in love with people, and I saw a need. Every third person has HIV, AIDS.
Right.
Average life expectancy for women is 34, men is 36. It's completely imploding, and I felt like God was leading us there. Anyway, long story short, we did open a clinic there. We opened 3 clinics, the greatest of which was one in 2010, where we were seeing over 3,000 people a week in that
That was the
clinic.
one in Harare, right? My wife went down there
Right.
with you guys.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Your wife actually helped us open the clinic.
That's
Let's not
correct.
forget. So anyway, but we're there, and Jesus has saved my life. Let's be clear. I'm a sold out believer in Jesus Christ. And but I never had the Holy Spirit. And I don't know if you want to get into that this call, but
Yeah.
I went to Africa, and if you don't have the Holy Spirit in Africa, you die because you starve to
Yeah.
death, and miraculous things don't happen for you.
Yeah.
So we started rolling with people who roll with the Holy Spirit, and I got baptized in the Holy Spirit, completely changed my life. And then when I kept
Awesome.
coming back and forth to
Yes.
Dallas, the church we were going to really didn't fit anymore. It was more, and again, nothing against any churches, but it was more seeker friendly and didn't have Holy Spirit.
Yep.
So long story short, we started sojourning for a church, and we spent a good year in like 13, 14 churches looking for what was home for us, and we couldn't find it. Talked to the pastors back in Harare, Zimbabwe, and said, "Listen, why don't we start a small group, grow it, and when it gets big enough, you can send a pastor over." Well, that's all it took was an open door, and this
Wow.
thing just grew exponentially. It was not a small group. In fact, it wasn't a small group at all. It turned into a church instantaneously. And by the time we'd gotten into about a year and we had 100 people, we were like, yeah, send somebody over here.
Yeah.
Guess who was the pastor already? Me and my
Yes.
wife, Kimberly. And so we ended up getting ordained back in
That's
Harare and
beautiful.
then
Yes. Look at that.
pastors
Yeah.
and
Yep.
led the church. We did that for 3.5 years, and the church was taking off. It was just exponential. And the offices were taking off because the need here is so much. And
Hmm.
till we physically and emotionally, spiritually could not do
Do
both of
both,
those.
right? Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah.
So really prayed heavily into what we were going to do, and really felt like God was leading us to pastor people through our office, where
Correct.
we have people who are of all faiths and agnostic, atheists, whatever, come through our chiropractic clinic who would never experience Jesus. And because we pray with people and people experience them there, that's what we did. So we found churches and places for everybody from our congregation, and then of course they're all in
Yeah.
the office, go pastoring them. So that was kind of the story there. And for us, it's been an awesome ride. It's been exciting, and it is a bit different, but I like it.
Yeah. And I think it's important because, people's backstory often puts, a flavor to their current life. So you may or may not know this as an example. I have somewhat of a similar story. I was on track to be medicalized, and I was doing an MD PhD program where, as soon as I graduated college, undergrad, I worked for the National Cancer Institutes as a researcher. I helped a specific, now very famous chemotherapy drug get through phase three pharmacokinetic trials to become FDA approved. So 5-fluorouracil, which is one of the main current chemotherapy drugs,
Heard of it.
I worked on the team that was trying to get that to become approved. And so before I had my eyes opened up, I'm doing 2 years of a PhD program helping people die by giving them chemo that we didn't know how it worked yet. And I, for 2 years in hospitals with doctors, and then I got married to, my wife, Dr. Sarah Ernst, who had a pretty bad scoliosis. And I had never heard of chiropractors. I thought they were like Walmart doctors. You buy the degree on the clearance aisle and you hang it behind you and you say, I'm a doctor. And she starts asking me to, go to the chiropractor with her. And I'm like, I mean, we're married, so I can't say no, and that would be terrible. So I start going to her chiropractic appointments, and she had really bad scoliosis, 20, 25 degrees, tertiary. It was atrocious since she was, teenager. And like you, he's like, so Aaron, you want to get adjusted? I'm like, I have nothing wrong with me. Like, I feel phenomenal. And he's like, what about your health? And I'm like, I've had asthma since I was born. It's genetic. You can't do anything about it. And he's like, since you were born, huh? Like, actually, since birth. And I'm like, well, I don't remember the first couple of years, but I know since at least five, I've been sucking corticosteroid inhalers and putting myself on machines to breathe at night. And he's like, well, let's just take a look. And it was free because, we had no money. Like we literally were, newly married, right? Do you remember newly married? Where you're like, I think I have 2 dimes and that's it. So he goes, you're free. Your wife's a patient. You're free. Let's get an x-ray. And my spine looked like it was atrocious. I have still to date an upper thoracic scoliosis. My neck is fine, my lower back is fine, but I tertiarily curve in my thoracic spine. He's like, this is extremely rare. You have bent spinuses, all this stuff. And he's like, guess where it's located? T
Right
two,
to
three, four, five,
okay.
six, which goes straight to the lungs. And he did the same thing that you had. He goes, well, these are the nerves. He's like, you're studying medicine, right? He's like, do you remember anatomy? I was like, of course I do. And he's like, remember the sympathetic chain? I'm like, of course I do. And he's like, where does it go? And I was like, it goes to the lungs. And he's like, would you like to fix your lungs? And I'm like, how? And he's like, I'm going to give you an adjustment. And I remember no pre-framing. He just like, why don't you just, and I was like, oh, you ripped my spine out. I'm dead. And he's like, well, how do you breathe now? 6 months off all corticosteroid inhalers. I mean, I was like 18. No, I wasn't. I was 22 years old. And oh, it changed my life. Guess what I did? I dropped out of my MD PhD program. I left the National Institutes of Health. My wife and I moved to St. Louis, Missouri to go to Logan. And here I am today, 26 years later, going, thank God. And the crazy thing is, as you probably know this, we work with a lot of cancer patients. So how unique is it that God's like, I'm going to put you in the belly of the beast for 2 years and I'm going to have you see people literally come in death state and have them be slaughtered chemically. And I'm going to show you the misery of that so that you remember this, so that when you have a cancer patient who comes in, you're like, oh my God, like I do not want that to happen to you. And then we get them out. We
So,
get them out of that chemicalized religion people believe with. So that's what I want to transition to. Tell me about the book. Like, what inspired you to write this, and um, how have you seen the book change your patients and maybe even your guys' life?
the book, it was you hear this, it's almost cliche now, it's a labor of love. It was labor. Like it was over 2 years writing this book.
Hmm.
Something that's burning inside of us since we started. My wife has her own testimony, like I have mine, with she broke her back and so on and so forth, and it saved her life. Her dad was put on an antidepressant and shot and killed himself right when Prozac came out. So he committed suicide, never had a suicide. So there's all these things that are traumas that God has used. And it's just, we see it every day. We've seen so many tens of thousands of patients. It's like it's this understanding, hey, you may be sitting there with blinders on, not knowing that you have a belief system and that belief system is wrong. And just because there's tens of millions of people that believe the same as you do, still doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
And the number one cause of death in the United States, based on three medical doctors, two PhDs, and 375 peer-reviewed study articles, in a book called Death by Medicine proves that iatrogenic
Yeah.
death is the
Yeah.
number one cause of death, 783,000 people a year. And the belief, there's so much belief, like there's so much faith that you cannot look at it as anything else other than like a religion because like there's nothing else that equates to it. And here's the crazy part too. Like I had an event I did last night in the public, a bunch of people there, and I was talking about it. I was like, it's interesting that if you come up against someone's belief system, like this is what my grandfather thought, this is what I was taught. He taught his son this. My dad taught me this. This is the way we've always done this. Everybody knows, and it's a belief system. And if you actually come up against that, oftentimes it's like you put your foot on someone's neck. They come out fighting for their life because it's a belief system. Unfortunately, they're fighting oftentimes for the very thing that's killing them. So for us,
Yes. Yes.
this book was like trying to lovingly, because the Bible says that without love, you're a clanging cymbal and a banging gong. Like I don't want to be that guy just going like you're wrong, I'm right,
Yeah.
you're wrong,
Yeah.
I'm right, and then give somebody. And I have photographic memory. I love all the data, the receipts, the studies. But if I bring 12 peer-reviewed studies to you about this, like medicine and this religion, they've got all the resources. They're going to have way more peer-reviewed studies.
Yeah.
And so you could fight peer-reviewed study after peer, like we could fight the studies against each other, or we could look at the principle of a thing and go, hey, let's back away and go, hey, because the Bible also says that we overcome the devil by the blood of the Lamb and the
That's
word of our
correct.
testimony. And so
Yes.
I've been posting like on my social media. I hope everybody goes to Dr. David Herb at Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, whatever else. Every day I'm posting up encouraging things. And it literally says oftentimes encouragement. And all it is a story of a kid that came in with colic and it's gone, or a lady that had breast cancer and it's gone, or
Yes.
a person who had MS and it's gone. And it's just to encourage people. It's not even to say, hey, come be a patient, although it happens naturally.
Of course.
But I want it, the reason I want it is because I want people to believe something different. I want them to at least crack the foundation of a belief system so they start to go, hmm, well, that would be nice not to have to take drugs. And maybe the drugs aren't as good as I think they are. And if I can get somebody to just slightly start going down that road, and for me, that's what this book is. This book is the opportunity to begin the journey that it takes. And we're all still on a journey. You're still on a journey. I'm
Yeah.
still on a journey. I don't know everything yet. But I can tell you this, life is better when you get out of a dogma religion of chemical, I mean, for lack of a better word, a chemical religion, when you get away from that and start working within the design of how this body is created
Absolutely.
so that
Absolutely.
you get the most out of it.
Well, I've previous episodes and previous interviews I've had. Let's talk about the belief that a medication can do more than God or more than the design intelligently of the human body. So we had this light conversation as we were starting where you were like, there's so many people who say, no, Dr. Ernst, you don't understand. I had to take XYZ. Like I had to do it. And a podcast maybe last year, I was like, so there was literally someone holding a gun to your head going, if you do not swallow that pill, I am going to blow your brains out. Like that would be, I have to do it, like in my mind. Okay. So to be given a prescription that says take this 2 times a day, every day for the rest of your life and accept it. We have both you and I, a marvelous mentor who's no longer here on this planet. And I'm going to butcher this because it's been probably 10 years. A prescription is nothing but a permission slip to say, no, God, I don't trust in you. I trust in mankind and synthetic chemicals to make my body do something it should already be doing. It's a prescription of a permission to say, to heck with doing anything to fix what's going on. I'm just going to go through life. Remember the Larry the Cable Guy commercials of like, oh, if you get acid reflux when you eat fried chicken wings dunked in hot sauce that has, crap on it, just take a whatever before and you can still do this. So don't change your life.
Back to
Just
Eden.
take a pill. And I mean, Dr. Charlie Majors, we give you love and respect, but like that guy changed my life when he started talking on stage about how drugs are an excuse to not wake up and realize you're a God created individual. You have the power of the Holy Spirit Jesus himself and God dwelling inside of you. And I don't know about you, but I think that power's a little bit stronger than a blood pressure, um, a
There's no
chemotherapeutic
denying,
agent.
no denying. Like I talked about this last night, like the fact that we could even talk and agree on the fact that there is some kind of amazing power, without the lack of a better word for that, power that had two cells come together that started dividing, that made a rudimentary brain and then a rudimentary spinal cord and then nerve roots rudimentary coming off of that. And then you literally grew from nerves and it grew a heart with four chambers, not three, an eyeball that can contract muscles that would
Yeah,
contract the lens. Like all these things, like literally your 70,000 trillion cells that reproduce itself and heal.
yeah,
You're walking in a flesh suit that is better than any Tony Stark Iron Man suit in
yeah,
ever existence. And yet we give more faith and we give more weight to a guy in a white coat with a stethoscope giving us a drug that's going to get replaced in 3 years because it's got too many side effects, and this one
right.
that's coming out, quote unquote, doesn't until they find that one does. And I get it. And so I'm going to say this, and it's I get in trouble sometimes because I do have a belief system that I believe that there is a place for medical care, and I believe that its only space that it could be in is in an absolute critical
Well,
situation.
how about this? I'll give you an example. So, not too long ago, I went on vacation to Mexico. I frequent Mexico often. I have a house in Mexico. So I'm laying on the sandy beaches of Mexico, just relaxing with a towel down so I'm not getting all dirty. And all of a sudden, it felt like someone shot me with a bullet. And I was like, and I look and I see a little baby scorpion walking on the sand. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just got stung by a scorpion. And I was feeling around and I'm like, it's enormous in like less than 2 minutes. And so I run to the
When
resort
was
we were
this?
at. This is like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
I run to the resort and they have a medical doctor. This is very common, just so you know, maybe people don't go to Mexico enough. Most resorts that are all inclusive include a doctor who just sits in the basement of the resort and waits for people to come that were goofing around or slipped on this or whatever. Like every single all-inclusive resort includes a medical doctor's care. Now, these are Mexican doctors, so just watch. I walk in, I was like, yeah, like something bit me and it looked like a scorpion. You know what he said to me? He's like, yeah, it's like, in America, it'd be like a bee sting. And I'm like, what? And he goes, let me look at it. I take my shirt off. He looks and he's like, all right. So he like slices it with a scalpel, squeezes blood and pus out of it. And then he goes, literally, you're going to be okay. Guess what he says? He goes, your body knows how to deal with the toxin from that sting. It's going to get big, it's going to turn black and blue, and it's going to fall off, but you're going to be fine. And he's like, if you want, I can give you a patch that you can put over top of it that will take all the pain away. And I was like, I feel like I've been shot, so yes, please, I accept your pain patch. So he peels this thing off that starts with a V. I've never seen one before in my life. And he sticks it on top of it. And in 30 seconds, I was like, I don't feel the sting anymore. And it's been 2 weeks and you can still see it. There's a track that looks like toxins going towards my spine. But he's like, just leave it alone. Your body knows how to do it. He's like, the redness is inflammation, the pus is your immune system reacting. This is medical Mexican. And they're like, here you go. So in that instance, when you get stung by a scorpion or you get hit by a massive spider and you're having an anaphylactic reaction, thank God we have the ability to give you a whatever that will stop that response. But that's
I was going more
different.
towards like gunshot or like
Same thing. Trauma, right? Like if you slipped and you broke your arm in half and well, you've had a trauma if you want to talk about this story, but that's why we have doctors is if we have something come off of our body or we have something get broken severely where it's dangling only by skin. Thank goodness we have trauma surgeons who are like, I can bolt this back together for you. And we have plastic surgeons that can, but like when it comes to what you talked about, the fruit of the human trunk, our frame, our roots that have branches that then have fruits called your kidney and your liver and your spleen. Like that's a little different. And I don't know about you, but today, I think by percentage, we have more people who have damaged organs than have traumatic injuries.
yeah.
Like I read a study, ready for this? 90% of Americans would fail a cardiometabolic exam.
Yeah.
Cardiometabolic isn't an EKG or, a stethoscope. It's, do your blood markers of cardiovascular disease, are they in the normal range or not? So CRP, homocysteine, ferritin, you name it. There's like 7 or 8 cardiac trackers that we know about today. 9 out of 10 Americans would flunk that test.
Well, and for me, I just wish that medical doctors would put themselves out there as critical care specialists,
Yes,
not
and not,
care. Healthcare. Like
well,
healthcare? No. And listen, if it's about healthcare, then we should go to somebody who's trained about health. Health is
health.
proper function, not patching a gunshot wound or sewing fingers back on or
Yes,
and so what happens is if you put somebody who is a critical care specialist and disease management specialist in the seat of healthcare specialist, then the healthcare of the population completely implodes.
that's
And like right
correct.
now,
That's correct.
the people between 18 and 24 who should be in the military, 76% of the US population in that age group could not even pass a physical to actually even be in the
Be in the
military.
military. Yeah, I've read that. Yeah.
This is the
Well, and it's also let's go because we have about maybe 10, 15 minutes before we have to end. Let's talk about what you and I talked about right before I hit the go live button. The belief, the deception, the idea that it starts with something very simple like, hey, if you have a headache, just go down the CVS, Walgreens, Target aisles and grab a over-the-counter pain reliever. I mean, my 9-year-old wouldn't be questioned if he walked into a grocery store with cash, grabbed a bottle of acetaminophen, went to the cash register, lady, guy, bought it and walked out. Like they wouldn't question it, which I think is crazy. Like, because I actually tested this. I said, "Hey, go try to buy this bottle
did you?
of Tylenol," and they let him do it. And I was like, "What the?" Like they didn't even bat an eye to it. See how it's the deception. So I want you to tell me what you told me about. It starts with something tiny. Then it's like, well, like it's pretty normal that you're going to need a blood pressure pill. And then before you know it, it turns into a slaughter. Can you just give me that, what you talked to me about?
Well, so the Bible in Revelations 18 says that the nations, all nations, will be deceived by pharmakia. And the pharmakia people, the Babylonian or the great men of the earth or the great merchants of the earth. Well, who are the great merchants of the earth? The people selling
Today, yeah, my
pharmakia.
goodness, right? Yeah.
And they'll be deceived. And the reason they're deceived is because you just make these small little decisions that don't seem to have any consequences now, but have consequences in the future that you won't even put the two and two together on. For instance, having a CT scan now with contrast, the contrast material will destroy a thyroid function, but it may take 6 to 10 years. And
Correct.
so your thyroid function completely implodes on itself. You have a autoimmune thyroid diagnosis. But you don't even put two and two together that it was from a CT scan you have 6 to 10 years ago. So you're not thinking it was that. But then because of the trauma internally going on to your metabolism, your body then has its lipid profile go up to protect you, by the way, because cholesterol is a good thing. And you happen to run into your doctor's office and go, whoa, well, that cholesterol looks very high, thinking it's a bad thing because he doesn't know anything about health. He's just trying to diagnose disease. And so it puts you on a cholesterol drug. The cholesterol drug increases your likelihood of feeling pain and having a peripheral neuropathy by 1,400%,
And having
decrease
cancer. Hmm.
and having cancer, decreases your body's sensitivity to insulin by 25%, decreases your body's ability to produce insulin by 18%. And so now you're on your way to metabolic full implosion and disease. You're borderline diabetic now, but that's okay because they can give you metformin. Well, metformin decreases your body's ability to absorb B1 or thiamine.
Yeah.
You have a long-term consequence of that being cognitive aging because you don't have B vitamins. Now your brain is aging, and all of a sudden you wake up one day years later from the help that you got from the trusted healthcare expert, which is a critical care expert running your health. And you wake up, you're on 6 to 10 drugs, you're hurting, you're suffering, and now you're 60 years old, you're washed up, your joints hurt every day, you're metabolically failing, you keep gaining weight like it's a sport. Now you're this big, rotund, tired, fat, miserable person. And they go, well, that's okay. We can fix that too with an antidepressant. And
Mm.
that's where so many people are ending up now in this system that it's actually cliche. And I don't know if you want me to go into the prophetic dream I had
I think you should, honestly, because I think people should hear it because
so I'm not a prophetic person. That's more my wife. But I woke up a couple months ago at 3:30 in the morning, and he showed me just a picture. And I sent you that picture. Maybe
yeah,
we can put that
I'll
picture
put
up.
it up. So here's the photo. Ready? Everybody see this photo? So this is
So
like you wake up and you see this.
this.
And can you explain it? Like, what are we looking at
Yeah.
here?
So that's a cow in a cattle chute that's scared, that's actually trying to get out. And I see this picture. I'm so emotionally moved by this. I can't even stay in bed. So I go across my house. I'm in the dark and I start just talking to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, what are you showing? I was about to do this huge Dallas Freedom Summit. It's a global event. And I'm supposed to speak at this. I'm like, is this what you want me to tell people? Like they're cattle? I said, I'm a little bit offended. I don't offend people. And he goes, yeah, people aren't cattle. He goes, but they are the sheep of my pasture. And I was like, okay, Lord, well, what is this? And he goes, this is what's happening to my people. They're being put into cattle chutes where they have less and less agency. They have less and less ability to make decisions for themselves. Don't have any options anymore because they quote unquote have to. And I go, what does that mean? Then he showed me a picture of a cow in a broad green field that had no fences. They could go wherever they want to. They go dip in the pond, take a nap on a tree. They have all the options because they can go and do what they please. But I said, so how does this happen? He goes, they lose options because they make decisions that are small, seemingly leading to inconsequential endings, but they're all adding up. And just like I'm raised in Oklahoma, where there was people that had cattle around me. You herd cattle by scaring them and getting them to smaller and smaller places till you get them into single
Like an
file.
individual line, right? So one in front of
Yep,
the other, right?
one in
Yeah.
front of the other. And then you can do anything you want to them. You can brand them, you can inject them, you can kill them, you can do whatever. And he's showing me this, and I've got, you ever had that situation where you got hair on the back of your head? Like I'm in the dark and I'm about to start crying. I'm like, Lord, this is a dark situation you're showing me here. And then he showed me this picture. So put this other
Now the
picture up.
second one. So this one
Yeah.
right here, right? This
Yeah.
second
This
picture.
picture here, you can see lines of cattle that are going to the end of this warehouse. And if you see the dark openings, they're all going to the same place. And he said, this line is the industry of cancer. This line is the industry of diabetes. This line is the industry of pediatrics. This line is mental health. And they're all leading the same place. And then he did something. He showed me an address to a scripture that I didn't know what it was. He said Proverbs 24:11. And I was like, Lord, I don't know what that is. And he said, go look it up. So I walked across my house to my office where my Bible was. I opened it up, and literally, if my hair wasn't always standing on my head, it said, deliver those who are drawn to death. Deliver means to take somebody from one place like UPS to a whole new place. Deliver
Mhm.
those drawn to death and hold back those stumbling to slaughter. And when I read that, I'm like, oh my Lord, this is exactly what's happening. And it's not like people are drawn to death. People don't go, I want death.
But I think we
With
are though,
regard,
aren't we? Because look, when
well,
a car accident happens on the highway, isn't our first thought like, I wonder if there's a dead body or I wonder if there's gore. I think we
But
are
for
drawn to death.
themselves, but for themselves, people don't go, I want to die. I want to swallow this pill and die. But what they do is they are drawn to death through deception, going, hey, you know
Yes.
what? I don't want to deal with this headache today, so I'm going to have to take Tylenol, not knowing that you bleed half a teaspoon of blood every time you take
Each
it.
time you take one. Yeah.
It eliminates your body's ability to heal its own joints every minute that it's pharmacologically active in your body, leading to more arthritis and more pain down the road, and more interventions and critical care stuff. Like I'm not drawn to death. I don't want death, but I keep getting deceived and making these small decisions. And what it does is it eliminates and eliminates until I feel like I don't have the option. And listen, at some point in time in that shoot, you don't have an option.
Yeah.
Your heart's either going to stop or a medical doctor is going to keep it going. You're either
Yes.
going to die of the clot that's now about to go to your brain, or someone's going to give you a drug of, rat poison
Yes.
and in your blood. Someone's going to either go in and take out a tumor that grew because of the decisions you made over the last 25 years, or it's going to kill you. And now you, quote, really don't have a decision to make. You have to. And this is how God's people get put into these cattle chutes because they have less and less options. And this is not where we're supposed to live. This is not where we're to just to have our being. Our spirits are supposed to run and play in the flesh that he's given us vibrantly, wildly. Like I literally am a
Like,
walking, talking example of this.
yes. Well, let me put it this way. So, like, I never grew up on a cattle farm, but my grandparents on my mom's side were dairy farmers. So, like, when I was 6, 7, 8, and we would go to grandma's house, I learned to milk a cow by hand. And then I also
I
learned
did.
how to let the machines do it, like, and then you watch it. And I learned that they are, like, to me, I was 7. I thought they were the size of dinosaurs. Like, a cow to me was this gargantuan beast, but they were so docile and friendly. And I remember you have the bull pasture because you can't keep the bulls with the dairy cows. I don't know what a heifer, I guess. What's a female
Pepper.
cow? Heifer. Okay, I pulled that out of nowhere. And then ready? You have the heifer, but there's tons of them. You have maybe one, maybe two, usually one, because I think two bulls will basically kill each other. But the heifers would be jumping and rolling and playing in the open fields. And my grandmother was a true Tennessean dairy farmer. And I remember her being like, if you want to go, go play with the cows. I'm like, we can just, she's like, yeah, it's just, they'll come up to you and you got to be gentle with them, but they also will kill you if you let them. But she's like, why don't you ride one? And this is my grandmother. She's like, "Whoosh," and she's like, you can ride a cow. And I mean, I'm a woo. And so like cows love to play.
Yeah.
And I think the vision I had while you were saying this is that's what we want, right? We want to work hard and then we want to retire and we want to have fun. We want to travel the world, spend time with our spouse and our kids and our grandkids. But now, ready for this? I don't know if it's this way in your office, but my average 70-year-old patient, when I say, hey, look, God says 120 years, God, you have like another 50 years ahead of you or whatever. They're like, no, 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 no. I don't want that. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, if 100 is possible, 30 more years of this, you ready? I'd rather die. And I start hearing this more and more and more. I'd rather be in heaven and have glory and honor and praise and a great body than stay on this earth for another 30 years. And that's the drawn to death.
Man, it's
I
so sad.
see it now. Like people, when they are so sick and so tired and they've tried everything in medicine and healthcare that they're like, nothing's working. They're like, you know what? I'm a believer. I believe in God and Jesus. I believe that, I'm saved and I'm going to enter a second earth and into heaven. I'd rather go there now. Can I just go there now, please? Drawn to
Yeah.
death.
Drawn to death. And let me tell you, I think this is why what we are doing in the time in which of all human history, it is so important why we're doing it. It's why we wrote that book, Breaking Free from Chemical Religion and Finding Your Way Back to Health.
What a great book.
This is why our social media accounts are so important. It's a constant drip of encouragement and truth into a world that's going to gravitationally pull people into a indoctrination of fear, indoctrination of living subservient to quote unquote their genetics or whatever their doctor says. Like literally, when we see people come in, I know that you see this too. When people
Yeah.
get their biomarkers checked, they get their spine checked, when they start walking in truth, that man, this thing is crazy. It's a self-healer. You're
Yes.
right. I
Yeah.
got over infection without an antibiotic. This is nuts. I'm off of my medications. I've lost 50 pounds. I got my life back. Like, I believe that there's never been a more important time in history for what it is that we're doing in leading people to freedom in their health. Because here's the thing, bottom line is you got Jesus, you can go anytime and you're never going to die because we're going to live forever. But as long as we're going to be here, let's not live in hell now,
That's right.
waiting for heaven to come.
Well, isn't it's our calling, isn't it, to bring heaven to earth? Like we should let people realize, like, hey, here we are on earth. But this earth, in my opinion, is a version of hell because it is hellacious to live in a heavenly being in a physical body. I mean, think about it. The limitlessness of a human soul restricted to this frame, that's a little bit of hellaciousness for that soul. But we have to then wake up. We have to realize, hey, we're here for a purpose and we're here for a reason. And we are not ourselves, we're children of a greater father, a God figure who says, no, 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 Dr. Ernst and Dr. Erb, I have you here today to have this conversation. And if you realize this, you start waking up with passion and with purpose rather than going, oh, I don't really want to get up today. Let me sleep until noon. And what are you going to do today? Nothing. Like I just want to sit and do nothing all day today. Really? Because I wake up at 4:30 going, oh, I've got like 6 million things I need to tell people about. And I had a prophetic dream, which we'll share in a future story, about how the second coming of Christ is going to happen through AI. And it'll be
That's a crazy story.
a synthetic, non-human human, and ready, will deceive everyone. So
Please invite me
deception,
back for that
we
podcast.
will.
Would you?
We should do that in a couple weeks. But ready? I want to end it with this because I have to go soon. Deception is the challenge, okay? What happened in the garden? Deception. Satan shows up as a snake and deceives the first two humans that could have lived forever and says, no, there's more than what you have in God if you just eat this fruit. And then, unfortunately, as you know, they do. But then guess what? They're deceived. And then God goes, well, I got to get a consequence. And now here we are today. And it's like we're living in a world that deceives people. Medicine isn't what we think it is. And we can go longer into this in a future story. I want the listeners to look up the word caudicus, and I want you to look up the meaning and the biblical reference to the serpent staff that Moses was commanded to make while the Israelites were being bitten by snakes and they were dying like crazy. There was a staff that if you looked to the staff, you were healed. Well, humanity comes around and goes, let me put snakes climbing up a staff. But snakes have a reason biblically, a meaning. And the staff has wings on it, a meaning. And there's a central orb at the top, a meaning. And the snakes are going towards the orb, a meaning. I want you to look at the biblical, historical meaning of the logo of medicine and find out if you think that's a faith-based logo or is that a deception logo? Is it from the devil himself?
You are opening up on a
We'll,
whole
we'll do
nother.
another we'll do another podcast because we do have to go because I have a lot of stuff to do today and so do you. But just thank you for your passion, your purpose, your mission, your vision, the prophetic nature. I think all of us could be prophetic if we allow our bodies to have that ability to just listen to the still small voice. Because, like you said, it happens in the quiet of the middle of the night when you're like, what? And then you had to go across your house. Your house is not small. I've been there. You had to go all the way across your house and sit in silence and ask a question. How many of you don't do that? I mean, I've done it all the time. I've asked a lot of questions to God. I mean, I believe God doesn't ever get upset, but I think he's like, Aaron, that's a really good question because I ask the hard ones, right? Because you do. You need to ask the hard questions. And because then you'll get, if you listen, you'll get a soft answer for a hard question. And that's when you're just like, so again, Dr. David Erb, thank you for today. We will definitely do more of these as maybe a mini series. And also, can you tell people how do they get connected with you? A, where do they get this book from?
You
B,
can go to chemicalreligion.com,
hold on, Chemical Religion. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen for everybody. And
chemical
then
religion.
on that site, are your Instagram links there, YouTube links, etc., or do they? How do they find you on
No.
social?
So on social, just look Dr. David ERB, herb without the H,
Which for
right?
hey for everyone, comment below. I'm going to put everything. I'm going to put their book website. I'm going to put their website. I'm going to put their information. And do you have like? Could you maybe send me like a access replays if you do this for the whole summit that you did, or is there like a link where they can buy like a replay pack or whatever?
I'll send it to you. You can put it in the link below.
That's beautiful. Guys, check it out. I'm telling you, the Freedom Summit is an exceptional. I mean, it takes a tremendous amount of work to do a summit, does it not? I think people think it's like we just open up our laptops and we sit in a room and we do a summit. No, I mean, it's an immense amount of coordination, work, etc. So thank you for being a part of that and for what you do. And just know that we're here, guys, every Saturday at 3 p.m., like every single Saturday at 3. And for those of you who are faithful subscribers, every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern is live Q&A. You just hop on and ask any questions you want. That's with the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. Thank you again, Dr. David, for being here today, and may God bless you with everything you do.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Look forward to next time.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.